hundreds of NYPD officers turning their backs on Mayor Bill de Blasio yet again, this time during his speech at the funeral for slain officer Rafael Ramos.
Former New York City Mayor Rudy Giuliani had a chance to speak with de Blasio at the funeral. So what did he say? Well, the mayor joins us right now. You've been a pretty tough critic of the current mayor, although you've always stopped short of saying he should be removed from office. So how did the conversation go?
Well, the conversation was without knowledge of the fact that the police officers turned their back. I was inside the church with the vice president and the governor, and none of us knew that the police officers turned their back. So it wasn't about that. I just expressed my condolences and told him that I feel bad that they're blaming him for the murder, because as a mayor, that'd break my heart. I said, murders are complicated, and I don't hold you responsible for the murder. But did you offer to mediate between? I've offered before. I've offered before to help. I said, if I can help in any way, please call on me. I have said from the beginning that he should apologize. And when I reflect now on the police officers, and he knows that, of course, that I said he should apologize. When I reflect on all the police officers turning their back, I don't know. I guess as an ex-mayor, I feel uncomfortable about that you turn your back on a mayor. On the other hand, I think at this point I have to say he's bringing it on himself. He should have apologized. He should have apologized, not for the murder. He is not responsible for the murder. And he shouldn't resign. He's been elected by the people. But he did create an atmosphere of anti-police bias and feeling for a long, long time. He did it when he ran as a candidate, and then he continued it into being mayor. And it's time for him to say, I'm sorry, it's very simple. I'm sorry. Maybe I had the wrong perception of my police department. First of all, my police department is not a white police department. It's a complete minority. Everybody's a minority in the New York City Police Department. Whites, Hispanics, blacks, and Asians. Nobody has 50% of the department. If you look closely at that video, you will see that African-American police officers turned their back on him. Right. It wasn't just police officers from New York. There were police officers from California, police officers from Canada, police officers from Australia turned their back on him. So he has made this thing go worldwide.
Right. They turned their back on him at the hospital. There was a banner that flew 2 days ago.
But now we're talking about police departments all over the country.
Right. All over the world.
There were like 20, 30,000 police officers
So
there.
it shows you just how deep-seated this is. I mean, you would have thought potentially they could have put their differences aside in loving memory of Rafael Ramos. But it shows you just how deep this runs.
It is very deep. Maybe he doesn't understand it. But he did create, from the months that led up to this, and believe me, I have no feeling that led to the murders, because I know how I've prosecuted murder. I know how complicated it is. But he did create a feeling that police officers are, in the main, racist, and the exception is the good police officer. All he had to say is it's the opposite.
Right.
The vast majority, he should have said, I'm very fortunate. I am mayor of the most diverse police department in the country, that has the least amount of racism, that has a wonderful record. I believe this statistic is true. You have to check it out. But someone told me that the New York City Police Department fired their gun only 81 times last year. This is 35,000 police officers firing their gun 81 times. This is not an out of control. We're not talking about the South in the 1960s. We're talking about guys who grow up, Asian kid next to a black kid, next to a white kid. Everybody's familiar with it. We all play football with each other. We have friends that are interracial. This is not what he has allowed to be created when he made all those statements about his son.
Unfortunately, you said it. That's how he got elected, and I think that's how he thinks he'll stay in office. But he's ripping the city apart. He ripped it apart.
But he's got to get it. He's got to say, he's got to say, I'm sorry. And there's comments about his son. I've made those comments to my son. My father used to make those comments to me. If a police officer says whatever he says to you, whether he's right or wrong, do what he says. And, of course, he always used to say, the teachers are always right, you're always wrong.
Thanks a lot, Mayor.
You turned out pretty well, Mr. Mayor.
Pretty
Good advice from you.
Pretty good.